Greetings. I am King Edward, the first king and founder of the barbarian Republic of Christ-Edwardia. My micronation this is my micronation. It is a primitive micronation, and I am here to tell you about it. And this video is basically a public announcement that my micronation exists. Before this video, my micronation has existed in secret. So I wanted to create this video and post it so that people would understand that my micronation exists and what kind of culture it has and various other information about my micronation. We are a primitive micronation. That is the main thing with the culture. I'll go into further detail later. The goal of my micronation is to eventually reach true sovereignty. However, currently, that is not going to be possible, seeing how, due to various issues that I am about to discuss. My micronation meets several of the requirements of being a true sovereign power, but does not meet them all. And I am going to explain those now. The requirements by NATO to be a true sovereign power. First, you must have a stable population. Currently, my population is both stable and unstable, seeing how I am fairly healthy and the only member of this micronation. But truly, I am going to die eventually, and because of that, I am going to have to replace the population. The way I plan to do this is via the primitive method of marrying and having children. Very simple, and I think that's that's pretty self-explanatory. Next, it must be able to be governed. Now, I have a pretty solid method of governing my micronation, and that is in the Holy Book of Government. It's purposefully spelled wrong, don't judge me. Now, in the Holy Book of Government, this contains a copy of the Constitution, a copy of the laws, and it contains everything from the Constitution and prosecution records for crimes, citizen records, procedure, customs, development records, various nations that have been contacted, inventory and trade agreements, weapons and ammunition inventory, citizen bill storage, just everything that would be necessary, military member list, communication files, just everything everything for the governing is in here, finance, everything. Now, on that note, I actually do, one of the questions might be asked is, how will a person in a micronation defend himself? Well, I have multitudinous weapons, mostly primitive, spears, clubs, various knives and blades. I also have a single BB rifle, a Red Ryder, and I have a compound hunting bow, both of which can be used, if necessary, for the protection of my micronation and territory. On that note, you may know that micronations cannot go to war with one another, at least not in the traditional sense. For that reason, I also have a stockpile of non-lethal weaponry, such as Nerf rifles, and water balloons, and water pistols. Now, on top of armaments and true governance, you need a money system, a stable money system. I thought very long and hard about this, and came up with, to be the most stable money system, barter. Now, barter, the reason I chose barter is because there's almost no inflation in barter. There's really just supply and demand, and then you just create more things to barter. I have been collecting various things to trade in barter, such as bottle caps. Now, now that we have got significantly covered for this video the government of the nation, let's cover diplomacy, which is the next requirement to be a sovereign power. I have a pretty strong method of diplomacy, as I have already created formed contact with two other, well, unrecognized nations. And these two nations are Molossia and Slogemistan. I have successfully sent emails to them and gotten correspondence, and have formed peaceful relations with them. Now on to the last one, which is land claim. This is the only one that I cannot meet. The reason for this, I own no property and I have no land claim. My current territory is being rented to me by another power, my father, and the leader of House Wolf. I cannot legally be a sovereign power in the international sense until I get some land of my own, which will eventually happen, but is not currently the case. Now, to move on to the reason of why I decided to make this micronation. I would like to start out by saying that I have nothing against the country that I came from, and that is the United States. I just had a dream of making my own nation that I built myself of God-fearing people. Now, my methods of keeping it fairly stable are by keeping it primitive, and that is going to be explained now in the cultural section. Culturally, we are a primitive, my nation is a primitive, rough nation. Culturally speaking. Now, I am the top, I am the king. One could even consider me a chief. I have complete power, but I must follow the law. I have laws that are written in the Constitution, and laws that are written in the Holy Book of Government. And everyone else is below me, but there are methods put in place so that if I do ever break the law, I will be tried just like any other citizen. Now, my micronation values self-sufficiency in all fields. This means production of our own technology, food, and so on. We have not reached all of these yet, but but they are goals. Now, culturally, our people have a different diet than a lot of other nations, because it is a primitive diet. Mostly meat, but also with small amounts of vegetables, and honey. like to season our meat in honey. Try it, it's amazing. Now, the reason I keep mentioning that we are only culturally primitive. Now, technologically, we have a research and development program. As well as being the chief and king of this micronation, I am an inventor. I have the ability to create, I have designed and built several things. I have designed primitive weaponry, designed not so primitive weaponry that uses pneumatics to hurl projectiles. I have, and so on. But I'm not going to tell you any of the things that are currently in development, specifically for national secrets, all that fun stuff. Now, that is all for this first video. We are not accepting applications for citizenship, and in order to enter the Micronation, one must first currently, one must first go through the land that is owned by the House Wolf, which is difficult, if not impossible. And then you must also go through the process of coming into the nation via the customs, which is currently very primitive and not particularly permitting. Wish you all peace, and bless you all. I am the King of Christ Edwardia, and that is all. Allowed me to operate as